Alright, I just want to give you guys another look at the city of Flint. And I want to talk about some of the things that a lot of people don't realize when an economy goes downhill. A lot of people make certain assumptions that really aren't true. They think that certain industries are going to do better because of certain situations. And that's not always true. For example, the city of Flint is one of the most dangerous cities in the entire country, and most people would assume that certain industries benefit from that. For example, the bail bonds industry. People assume that because so many people are ending up in jail, that more people would do business. More people would be bailing people out of jail. And the truth is more complicated than you think. A lot of people don't understand that bail bonds is basically like insurance. The way bail bonds work is that when you're in jail, they say, okay, you can get out of jail if you make bail. Okay, let's say it's $10,000. Well, you don't have the $10,000. Now, if you were to pay the $10,000 and show up for court and show up for all the appearances, eventually you will get that $10,000 back. You or your parents or whoever put down the money. With a bail bonds company, if you can't afford the $10,000, you go to a bail bonds company and they, for a fee, they're able to guarantee that bail. They put down a bond. And what they say is that if you don't show up for court, they will pay for that. They'll pay the $10,000. Now, of course, that puts them in a situation where they have to make sure you show up for court. Well, in that situation, let's just say you only had to pay, I don't know, maybe $1,000 or maybe $500 or whatever. In that type of situation, you wouldn't get your money back because you're using that company. And the money you pay is how that company, that bail bonds company, makes money. Here's the problem. Even though there's a lot of crime in the city of Flint, and I know this because I worked as an underwriter, if people in your family don't have a job and they still don't have a sufficient amount of money, there's just no way they're going to be able to get you out. And it's more than just money. You know, if the bond, let's say it's $50,000, and you have to come up with $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 or so, and it's a serious case, the company is going to they want guarantees that they're going to be able to get their money. They're going to sign the bonds that are likely to allow them to get their money back. So they're not going to get involved with a high-risk person unless there's some type of house involved. So a lot of times what they'll do, they'll ask you to put your mother's house down. Let's say you're in jail and your mom put down the $5,000 with the company to get you out of jail. You won't get that $5,000 back. And to make sure they're able to recover the money for the bond, they're going to want your mom to sign on the bond, they're going to want your dad to sign on the bond, and they're going to want them to put up their house. So if you take off and run, they could sue your parents and take away their house and get their money back. So the situation is much more complicated than a lot of people realize. And a lot of people don't really own houses here. A lot of people don't have jobs. That's another thing they look for. They want people to actually have jobs so they have a means of actually paying them back if their loved one takes off. You know, and in a city where there's not a lot of jobs, that's a huge problem. So you have a situation where there's a lot of crime, a lot of people ending up in jail, but do they really have family members with good enough jobs that allow them to get the hell out of jail? Well, for a lot of them, no, they don't. And that becomes a problem with a lot of these type of industries. You know, you got to find family members willing to sign a bond, and a lot of times the family members aren't willing to sign on the bond. And if they're not willing to sign on the bond, a lot of times the deal doesn't go through. They're putting up some U.S. flags. Although, I mean, with the economy as bad as it is, why are they spending work hours on putting up flags? I don't know. You know, I think it's bizarre that they have enough money to put up flags, but they don't have enough money to keep the police officers on the street. Okay, don't have much money, but I decided to add an extra clip to my collection, even with shipping. This right here I was able to get off of Sobrellas. And I decided to get a little more ammunition. I don't have much, but I decided to get an additional 100 rounds of .45 caliber